Howdy folks, in this particular lecture, this is going to be a lecture on Windows. So first of all, let me just introduce myself a little bit. I'm not a Windows sysadmin. I don't work with Windows much, but there are certain things that I utilize for Windows. Okay, so we're talking about Office PowerKit. So we're talking about Excel PowerKit for doing data normalizing, what do you call it, data modeling in Excel data analytics. So these are the kind of things that I'm not going to dive right into it now, but these are the reasons that you probably need Windows if you're working as a full stack Java web application developer. So that is what I am. So I'm a developer who work as software as a service. That is SaaS, or you call it SaaS or SaaS. Okay, so software as a service, full stack Java web application developer. So in that particular respect, I do have to work with a lot of SQL based normalizing data set in entity relation model by utilizing static schema or Kimball data schema. And you can utilize by writing SQL code, and that's cool, but you can also utilize Excel PowerKit. So for that you need Office. Okay, so we're talking about Office 2021 onwards. Okay, so now you have Office 2024. So the question is, for a lot of people who are just diving right into software developments, they probably don't have the resources, both financially and also technologically, to get into it in terms of buying and proprietary activation license and so on. But I'm going to show you in a legit way how to actually access Microsoft KMS servers to make sure everything's work out. So this lecture is pretty much all that. So we're going to start off with Windows first. So this is Windows 10. So don't go into Windows 11 because it has a lot of issues when it comes to developers things. It's pretty cool for all kind of other stuffs that you want to do in a domestic level, but it's not good for developers, for doing things that I want to show you what you need to do. So you're gonna utilize Windows 10 to start off with, and we're gonna ensure that we can install Office 2024, okay, without paying anything. Okay, so we're gonna go into Microsoft KMS servers and make sure that is activation keys. So before we do anything, I just want to dive right in and show you the Windows 10 is free. You don't have to pay for anything, and how you gonna get it activated in terms of the license and the subscriptions. Okay, so you're gonna go to the server and actually get the deployment activation keys free of charge and ensure it. So it is already installed into my machine, but I'm gonna show you the process how to do it to start off with, and then we're gonna jump into Microsoft Office 2024 installations, followed by activating that Microsoft Office by getting the keys from activation server. So let's jump right in. So this is Windows 10, as I said to you before. So from here, we're going to take it one step at a time. Okay, so a lot of people are new, maybe, in terms of, these are not really like things that you're going to sit down and become Lego work. It's like a semi rocket science kind of stuff for people who are just joining right in. So I'm going to go slow so that people can understand what I'm talking about as well. So this is Windows 10. So from here, so I kind of customized everything. So you get rid of everything that they come up with on the right hand side pane. So I got rid of all, and then I have my own customized stuff that's going on right here. So from here, the first thing you're gonna go for is basically, you can look into Windows PowerShell. Okay, it's really powerful stuff, and this is something that a lot of people in the past, that think that before Windows 10 you didn't have that secret shell. So you're gonna work with, if you are a full stack Java developer, full stack web application developer, whether you are working JavaScript or Java or Python or PHP or whatever, you would end up working with Linux servers or Unix based servers. So you're gonna be working with Linux servers, not with Windows. But it's still, you need to be connected with Windows somehow. So Windows now have incorporated secure shell. So we're gonna work with Unix secure shell and how you connect with the server. So I have a server running, that's a Unix server, so I'm going to connect with that Unix server. That's a Debian Linux server. Okay, so let's jump right in and show you how to connect with the server. So you don't really need third-party software like PuTTY. A lot of people in the YouTube will show you that you utilize PuTTY to actually connect to your servers, Unix servers or BSD servers. So we can do it right away from Windows PowerShell. So jump right into Windows PowerShell. So in here, when you go to Windows PowerShell, right click it and then go as more, into the more, and it's run as administrator. Okay, And you can do the same thing by just typing in here. You can type PowerShell here. I hardly use it, and I think it's a lot of people use it, and then you can go run as administrator. So I never use it that way. So from here you can see the path it shows you. This is the path, C colon, and then you have a forward slash, which is actually a backslash. In Linux systems you have forward slash, and that's get confusing because I don't particularly use in the DOS command, which is disk operating system command right here. And this is where when Microsoft started in when Bill Gates started Microsoft, they didn't have GUI interfaces. That's what you see, or graphical user interface. They all had this, and that's where people get a bit messed up because people don't use this stuff now. But when I started working, there wasn't any Microsoft. When I started working, there was all Unix-based servers, and that's where things started to go to the different level, because you'll be working with Linux servers because no one utilizes Windows when it comes to web applications. So you're talking with eBay, you can talk about all the web applications, so eBay, PayPal, you're talking about Amazon, Netflix, you talk about all these big large corporations, Facebook, Twitter, now it's called X. I don't know why it's called X. It's kind of kinky. So these all are basically web applications, and they're all running in a host servers, and they're all Linux servers. So let's jump right in. So the first command, for example, this is a Linux command. So if I want to type a Linux command right here, pwd, which is print working directory, it gives you the path. That's the path I just showed you, and it's the same command you can utilize in your Linux server. So it's basically they stolen everything. Not all everything, but they stolen everything from the Unix based servers. Okay, so Unix command, they are still prevail. So anything that you see in computers, they're not new technologies. 99% are basically technologies that came from 1970s when NASA developed Voyager, and they sent it to the Voyager and the Pluto. The technology was there. American American Advanced Research Project, ARP. Advanced Research Project, sorry, ARPANET, Advanced Research Project Agency. They are the one that developed the Unix-based server side. The whole things of HTTPS or hypertext transmission. That was back in 1950s technology, and we're still using it. So from here, so if I type dir and then /p, it gonna gives you a certain result, but it doesn't give you the result in such a way that you want to see it from this command shell. But if you want to go into the command prompt, that's what we call a black shell. But if you type dir/p, then it gives you the result. Okay, so there's slight differences between these two. Okay, so the command shell. So for example, in here, the Unix system resources, user system resources, Red Hat, and from there you can type that command. But you can also go and run as an administrator. Okay, so in the command prompt. Okay, so you go into more and then open run as administrator, then it comes to system32. Okay, and now you can do dir/p, that pause, and then it gives you the result. Press any key to continue, but that doesn't work, as you can see in here. So there's slight tweak in here. Okay, so if you type here dir/p, it throw you out certain issues, object oriented issues. So you got to be careful with which one you need to utilize for what purposes. Okay, so these are the two command shells in Windows that we can utilize for connecting to your Linux servers. Okay, both of them will be working with Linux servers. So I'm gonna kill this one for now. I'm gonna stay with the command shell. So we're gonna clear the screen here. You can clear, you will clear the screen. But on the command line in the back one, you cannot type clear. You have to type CLS. So there's some slight differences between these two. So from here, so what I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna connect to my Linux server. So we do SSH, which is basically back in 50s and 60s and 70s they developed SSH long before Windows actually evolved, long before Bill Gates even started doing anything. And then we plug out the username, which is Yuki in my case, which is one of my cats. Okay, and then I'm gonna plug out my IP address 192.168.1.247, and then you're gonna ask me the password. So I'm gonna put out the password right here. and now I'm actually in a totally different level, so I'm actually into my Linux servers. So from here, if I do chc cat sc debian underscore release, it gonna tells me Debian version. So it tells you the Debian 12.11 I'm utilizing. I can also do lsb release actually -a, and it tells you underscore lea, yes, release -a, and it tells you it's Debian, it's Debian GNU, Linux, Bookworm, and you can also do NeoFetch. So you're actually utilizing your Linux systems by sitting into your Windows server, and these are the kind of same thing that you can do into that black screen that I show you, that is command prompt. There's slight differences in the command, but these will work just fine SSH. So we're gonna clear the screen from here and we're gonna exit. So this is the very basics of what we're doing here, and from here so let's jump right into do Office 2024 installations followed by the activations. But before I do anything of that, I just want to show you this is Windows 10. So most of you are in Windows, so you know what I'm doing here. So go to settings right here, and in settings you have to make sure that you actually have a Microsoft account. Okay, this is really important. So I have a Microsoft account. So I work with Red Hat. So basically my work is in the Java applications in Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So that's why my username is Red Hat, and my email address is Red Hatter 75. So I born in 1975. That's why it's Red Hatter, and so I'm 50-year-old, 50-year-old now actually. So Red Hatter 75. So I work with Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So Red Hatter. So I'm 50-year-old, born in 75, and my email address, which is Microsoft email address, which is Red Hatter 75. So you make sure that you have your emails. Okay, so you make sure that you have an Outlook account with Outlook account, which is Microsoft. It used to be hotmail.com, but now they changed it to Outlook. Don't go to Hotmail at all because that's deprecated. So it's Outlook. Okay, so you have Red Hatter 75 at outlook.com. That's my email. So you make sure that you have that first before installations of Windows 10. I did not manage to record it because I don't have the camera to put out outside. Like in here there's a camera, and then they can show you how to install it, but it's pretty straightforward. You go into YouTube, type how to install Windows 10. It's free. Get the ISO, burn it into Rufus, which is basically ISO burner in Windows 10, and then just plug it up and boot it up, and then just follow the instructions. You just follow some YouTube videos and you'll see it. That's why I did not cover it, because I don't have the utilities to record it, but it is pretty straightforward compared to what you can do in Linux servers. Okay, so BSD installations or DB installations, they are kind of very different than what you can do in Windows. So very straightforward. So my lecture is gonna cover the activations. That's the most important part. That's most of the YouTube videos will miss out because they're not gonna share it because whatever reasons. Okay, so I'm gonna share it here, bold and categorically. So from here, if I go to updates and security right here, and then I go to activations, and it says my Windows is activated. Why it is activated? Because I have already installed Windows 10 into a different machine with the same Outlook.com account, and then Windows servers know that I'm the same guy who is actually activating it in a different computers with the same username and the password. That's why it has been activated. But if you're new, that's what I'm going to show you first what you're going to have to do. Okay, so if you're new, the first thing you do is basically open up an Outlook, register an Outlook.com account. So you have your username as Outlook.com username and the password. This is the first thing you do. Okay, I'm not going to show you that. After that, what are you going to do? So in my case, this has been activated, so that's different. But in your cases, when you install Windows, you wouldn't have that activation things right there. What you will have is basically Windows is not activated. So I'm going to show you what you need to do. So we're going to kill that screen, and we're going to go to the same PowerShell, the blue one, the Windows PowerShell. You go in here, my mistake. So we're going to go as an administrator. Okay, so right click it, go into the run as administrator, and we're going to issue a command. So we're going to issue Windows PowerShell ISA. What the hell is that? Yeah, don't worry about that. Okay, kill that. I think I misplaced that command. So you go into Windows PowerShell, gently right click and run as the administrator, and then click yes. Windows is very talky, that's why I don't like it. It just asks too many bullshit. So from here, what we need to do is basically we're going to issue a command. That command is critically important. So we're going to do IRM, that is a Windows PowerShell command, and then we're going to connect with HTTPS, which is Hypertext Transmission Protocol. And then we want what we do need is basically is the Windows deployment server, where you're gonna go and find the activated key. So get.activated if I'm not mistaken /win. And this is going to the Windows server, and then pipe. This is a pipe, that bar, that vertical bar is called pipe. Okay, pipe sign. And it was established back in 50s. They established the software back inside. So when we issue this command, press enter, and what's gonna happen is basically you're gonna start connecting with your Windows deployment activation server. Okay, what we call KMS server. So from here you can see is activation methods for Windows. As we can see in here is you can see a few things in here. So the Office is number 2, okay, Windows is number 1, okay, and then check activation status is number 6. So in your case, when this pop-up window comes in your cases, you just gonna have to press number 1. It says choose a menu option using your keyboard. Okay, so because in your cases the activation is gonna be number 1. In my cases, I'm gonna just check it because in my case it's already activated. So if I press number 6, and then what's gonna happen is basically it's gonna start checking. Okay, and I think that's what it is doing now. Yeah, so it's checking and it's saying the machine is permanently activated. Can you see that? In my cases, you don't have to worry about product key, and they actually give you all the keys here as well. So press enter, and then you come back right here. So once you come back here, you can press 0 to come out from here. So this bit is important if you're installing Windows 10. First of all, this is the same thing we're gonna do once we get through some advanced, not necessarily advanced, but advanced enough to get Office 2024 installed and then activated it by pressing number 2, right? Office is number 2. So let's jump right in. So now it's a totally different thing. So now this part of the lecture, the first part of the lecture, we shared a little bit about DOS, disk operating system, PowerShell, and how we work with PowerShell, how we connect with Windows to Linux servers without actually utilizing any third-party software like PuTTY, PuTTY, whatever you want to call it as. And then we can actually look into the difference between Windows PowerShell and the command shell in both cases, and so on. And we also get into the fact that Windows 10 is free. You can install Windows 10 and then activate the Windows 10. Even if you don't activate Windows 10, it will be fine, and so do Windows 7. I'm not sure about Windows 11, but stick with Windows 10. Okay, so just stick with Windows 10, and then you can activate the Windows 10 by getting into that, issuing a command to go into the deployment tools of Windows activation key, and then actually utilize that pop-up menu where you have number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. So from here, so the first thing I'm going to do is basically we're going to go to the file manager. You can do the same things in command line in here. So from here, so we are in a path, so we are here. The first thing we want to do is on a downloads directory. Okay, you can actually create a new directory or folder, they call it, and we're gonna call it Office _ 2024. Okay, so this is the first directory we create. This is an empty directory. I'm gonna call it directory because I work in Unix servers. These guys call it folder. Okay, so it comes naturally for me to call it directory. So it's Office 2024 directory. Okay, so this directory is empty right now. Okay, so this directory we created, just remember the path where we created it. The path is basically your downloads path. Okay, so it's basically under don't worry about these things because it can be very weird in here. but we need to know where the path is. But don't worry too much about it now. So it's actually in the downloads directory. So what happened in the quick access is totally different things, and it's just basically mess things up for people. You know, it just screw things up. There shouldn't be anything like quick access things, okay? But anyway, so Windows do it in different ways. So you have these things, but they are actually under your C drive. So under C drive you have your users, and then under users you have your account, which is Red Hat. It might then you have the downloads. Okay, so this is the path. Okay, so this is the path: C colon users Red Hat, and then you can go to download. So this is your path. Okay, but you don't see this path under quick access, so that can be kind of difficult for people, and the reason the Windows do it for all kind of bold reasons. Okay, there's no reason for doing this kind of mixture like quick access. What the hell is quick access for? So in here you have this Office 2024, okay, a directory we have created. So we're gonna minimize that for now, and then the first thing what we want to do is basically we want to go to what we call an Office deployment tool, and that's the Microsoft Office deployment tool. And we're gonna take it easy because things gonna get little. It's not a steep learning curve, but you know, you don't have any idea how to do this kind of stuff, so it could be a little challenging, a little tricky. So we're gonna walk you through, you know, I'm gonna walk you through slowly and easily. So what I'm gonna do now right here is gonna go to Firefox. So the Firefox is my favorite private browser right here. So it's Firefox, and then I'm gonna type up right here Office deployment tool. Okay, Office deployment tool. So right here you can see it right away. It can download Microsoft Office. It says Microsoft download Office tool. Okay, so you click that and you come into this place, which is cool. Okay, so you have this Office deployment tool. This is Microsoft authority, so there's nothing criminal activities going on here. There's nothing illegal here. It's all legit, all legitimate, and all right. Okay, so from here you just click download, and once you click download, what happens is executable file has been downloaded. So the second thing we're gonna do is basically go into the file, and it's in the downloads directory, and all we gotta do is basically drag it all the way to the Office directory. I don't like Windows, so I've just dragged it right here, and it's not showing up for whatever reason. It's not coming up right here. You don't let me get in there. Okay, so we're gonna cut that, and then we're gonna go to Office and we're gonna paste it right here. So whatever reason it didn't let me get in there. That's why I don't like Windows for whatever reasons. Okay, so right here I'm not complaining. This lecture is not all about complaining. So this is the first thing you gotta do, Office deployment tool exe, but don't do anything. And once it come in here, you can't even see .exe file. Okay, so it is actually exe file. It's very confusing. They do it purposefully just to make people confusing, but don't worry, this is an execution file. Okay, so if you click it, it will work as like executionable file. So we're gonna do it a little later, and I'll show you how to do it, but make sure that it's actually .exe format file. Okay, in the file manager you can change these formats and everything. I don't have time for it. I don't really give a damn either. So you're gonna minimize it. The reason is basically I wanted to get away from Windows as quickly as possible because I hate it. I am only using it for different purposes because Microsoft has Office 2024 and it comes with Excel. So the Excel changed a lot from 2013. So it changes, like they have PowerKit, and basically so you have Power Query, Power Pivot, you have DAX, which is Data Analysis Expression Language, and also Power BI. So they're really very powerful. They're really powerful, and they can do a lot of things. So that's why we need Excel. But in order to do that, you can't have Excel, that power Excel. You know, you can't have that. You cannot have these kind of stuffs in Linux systems, okay? Because Linux is not made for that purpose. So that's why I figured that I need Office, and that's why what I'm doing it. But I'm not Windows guy. So if I'm making mistakes or just fiddling with it and trying to figure out things, don't blame me, because I'm not Windows guy. So anyway, from here, so the first thing is done, and then the second side, what we're gonna go, as I remember, is called Office customization tool. So Office customization tool. So here it is. Office customization tool is Microsoft 365 apps. So my office customization tool. So get down right there, and then this is critical. Okay, so from here a 64-bit architecture, that's my machine. So follow everything. So what I'm doing here, Office suites. So we're gonna choose Office 2024. Okay, and make sure this is an Office LTSC Professional Plus 2024. Don't choose anyone else. Okay, you have Office LTSC 20 standard, don't choose that. So choose Office, don't choose any others. Okay, so Office LTSC Professional Plus 2024 volume license, make sure that you choose that one. Okay, and just scroll down slowly and gently. Okay, don't worry about anything else from here, and make sure it's a perpetual enterprise. It's gonna be automatically chosen. Don't choose anything. So from here, what are the things that I need? So I don't need a Skype for Business, so that's fine. OneDrive Desktop, I don't need. Okay, Outlook Classic, I don't need. Okay, OneNote, I don't need. Okay, so when you install Windows, OneNote and OneDrive will probably come with you anyhow, so you don't need these. Okay, PowerPoint, yeah. Publisher, yeah. Word, yeah. Access, yeah. Excel, yeah. That's fine. Okay, so now we go to the next stages, which is, you can click next. I don't want to click next. I'm just going to go to the language. Click language, and then select primary language. It's asking you to select primary language here. So the primary language in here is gonna be English United States. Okay, and I don't want any additional language or anything like that. Click next, and then you come into this in here. So make sure it's Content Delivery Network, because that's where it's gonna go to your Content Delivery Networks, basically the server. That's where you're gonna go and get your Office 2024. Okay, and then in here it's really important to the next stage. So click next, and then when you come into this particular page, you see these things of uninstall any MSI. So we're gonna make sure that it is switched off. Okay, so it's really important that you make it switched off, and click next. And what we're creating, we're creating a customized XML. We wanted an XML so that we can actually initiate that XML format with our deployment tool to actually legitimately, not criminally, not bootlegging, not paying other parties to get the activation keys or subscriptions to get Office 2024 into our system. Okay, that's what we're doing, and we're going to Microsoft side. You can see from Microsoft right here. And now we, like I said to you before, we want to connect it with the KMS server, so it has to be KMS. Make sure it's in KMS, and click next, and everything looks good. Click next. Okay, so once you hit here, you see it's created the XML file right here for you. Okay, so now from here we're gonna click finish, and then it's gonna create the deployment settings for you. Okay, and then all you gotta do is click export, and we're gonna export it as an Office Open XML formats. Okay, not the first one, not the last one. Office XML, and click open. Click this tab right here. So you cannot see it because I got these things going on, and it's not letting me move forward with things. We can do it that way. So you can say click OK. So click OK, and then I accept terms and agreements. Okay, and the file name is important, so make sure the file name is configuration. So keep it as configuration with capital C. Click export. So the file is exported, and why it is exported is exported in the download directory, and that's all you gotta do in terms of getting into these two sides, Office deployment tool and Office configuration tool. What do you call it? Office customization tool. Okay, so from here I'm gonna go to the main homepage and Google it and close it. And so from here we go to the file manager, and under your downloads directory you see this configuration, and these bastards, excuse my language, won't say is an XML file, so that people get very confused. So just put it right here in the Office directory. So now it's in the Office directory. You can see this configuration file is here. It's an XML file. Make sure you know that is an XML file. I can show you by going to the command prompt, but just make sure that you know it is an XML file. Okay, so this is the file we're going to invoke it, and how we're going to invoke it, it depends on issuing a command that we're gonna do it, but before we do it we need to actually execute this file. So we're gonna have to execute this deployment execution file into as an administrator. So right click it and then run as administrator. Okay, not just like a normal user. Click yes, and then click the acceptance required or whatever, and click continue. And what will happen is we'll ask you where you want it. So we want it under our downloads directory, and under downloads directory we have an Office, and that's where we want it. Click OK, and a bunch of files just came in, just only 2 or 3 files just came in. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so that's what we want. So now we have a setup exe and configuration. You have configuration XML and then configuration Office 365. We needed those files. So now we have this Office directory all together right here. We don't want in the downloads. So what we want to do is basically we're going to cut that, and I'm going to put it right in our local disk in the C drive. Okay, so paste it right here. Okay, so now you remember that Office 2024 have all the configuration directory file. Okay, so under downloads we had these files downloaded, we put it into Office 2024, and then the whole Office 2024 directory I have just moved it into my C drive, and here it is. Office 2024, you have configuration XML, and this file, this created it, I think it's an execution file, and then you have a setup exe file. So we don't do anything in graphical user interface at this point. Okay, so we're nearly there. So this is the critical part, because these bastards in here, they don't show you the file extension. This is really critical, and these guys, I know that some people can do in file manager to actually figure out the execution. I don't have time for doing it. Okay, so but this is configuration XML. I don't know what the hell is this one. Well, I know this is setup.exe, and this is what basically this file, you can delete it at this point. You don't need this file, but we'll keep it anyhow. Okay, this is a deployment tool. That's an execution file. Okay, but we don't need that file, but it can stay here. So at this point we're gonna kill this file manager, and the first thing you're gonna do from here is go to the command prompt. Okay, so this is your black command prompt, it's not the PowerShell. Okay, so we're gonna go into here, and this one we're gonna do it as an administrator. Okay, so more, run as administrator, and then click yes. Okay, so from here we're gonna do cd and this backslash. Okay, so that basically means it can take you to your C colon. Okay, it's a backslash. Okay, and if I do dir, it tells you all this directory, and we know that we have created a directory called Office 2024. Okay, so we're gonna do cd Office, cd is change directory 2024. Okay, and then press enter. 20 after 20 you can press tab button, and then you are there, and we're gonna do cls to clear the screen, giving some breathing area, and then do dir. You can see all this. Well, now you can see which file is which, it shows you exactly. So you have 2 files. One is XML, the one we created is the capital configuration XML, but when we actually executed that file, it created another XML file. Okay, and we also have a setup exe. So everything you're gonna have to do from here. A command is very simple. Okay, so it's issuing one command to actually start the invoking process based off what we have done from deployment, Microsoft Office customization tool and Microsoft Office deployment tool. Okay, and the command is setup. Okay, and make sure that you have the administrative, and that's why we come here as administrator. Setup and .exe. You can put exe because it's an exe file. Can you see setup exe? Or you can just type setup. It's up to you. So I'm going to type setup exe, and then a spacebar, and then your /, and then do configure. Okay, so that's the command, setup.exe /configure, and then the file. Most important thing is the file that we created in the Office customization tool. That's the configuration XML. That's the file configuration XML. So when we issue this command, it will invoke Office 2024 installation, if I'm not wrong. So press enter, and you can see this is installed. So bear in mind that your internet connection is working. Okay, it's really critically important. My machine is actually all open. I'll show you now. I'll show you in a minute. Let's just get this process done, then you'll see what's going on, if I'm not wrong. It's doing something for sure. I'm not sure 100% that it's actually working in my favor. Yeah, I think it is working. Oh yeah, please stay online while Microsoft. So this is all cool. So it's gonna, the one that we want access PowerPoint, Excel, and Word. We don't really need anything else at this point. I'm just gonna flip the camera up and show you that my machine is actually open. I'll show you because it's important, because you're working server side, so it's really important what you're doing. So for here you can see that that's my machine on. Okay, that's it's not a toilet paper, you know, it's just because I sometimes sneeze. So, well, it is a toilet paper, but I'm using it as like he's sneezing. But don't think that, oh my god, this guy's keeping his toilet paper right here, you know, bathroom paper. So this is a 500 GB Western Digital. That's where it is going to be installed. And then obviously you got your random access memory right here. So I got 8 gigs right here. Okay, so I kept the machine on because the SATA disk I bought, I have the dock stations for sure, but also because I'm working with Red Hat, so I really need to just kind of switch on back and forth with Red Hat and other disks. So I got like hundreds of these kind of disks. So that's why this is what, you know, there's the bathroom roll toilet paper in my office. Okay, a lot of people actually utilize toilet paper in the office. Anyway, so this is the motherboard, and this is your fan, this is your random access memory or RAM. Okay, so I thought I'm just gonna show you very quickly. Okay, so let's jump back in. So it is actually gonna take, depending on the internet connections, it may take a while. I would say it will take you, depending on the internet connections, it may take you roughly 25 to half an hour. Okay, so if your internet connection is very well, you may be able to get through it within less than 15 minutes. So I will see how long it takes. While it's doing that, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about what I do, so that people know exactly you know, what kind of things I'm doing. So I'm a Java full stack web. So I developed my career as a wildlife ecologist. So I was a wildlife ecologist, and I've been working with wild tiger conservation and ecology and biology for the past 5-10 years of my graduations. Okay, so I graduated from England, which is crappy universities. UK's education is probably one of the worst in the world. Okay, so if you are an international student and wanted to come to UK for a study, I would not recommend it, because it's a crap country altogether. Anyway, let's not just jump right into all those kind of stuff. So I'm saying that basically I was a wildlife ecologist. I wanted to be saving tigers, and I want to work with tigers, and I did work with tigers, and a lot of publications has been done. But I wanted to get into something in a higher level, but unfortunately because of social and circumstantial situations, I couldn't manage to get through all that level. So I switched gear and got into codings, because I was always good at maths. So I ended up going into doing some codings, like working with system administration and so on. So I ended up working with Linux, and I ended up working with Linux because I never liked Windows. And everything started from Linux. So I started with Unix and Linux back in, I would say, 2007, around that time. So been working from there, and switched gear, and became a Java, and all self-taught study after that. So I became a Java full stack web application developer, and I was working with Java software as a service based application. So when you look into all the applications that you can see in Amazon, eBay, PayPal, I was talking to you before, Twitter, all the banking services, most of the banking services. You can talk about Facebook, you can talk about all the social media like Xhamster, which is a porn site, and all kind of big sites. You know, they're big sites, you know, and these are actually runs in Java. Okay, so they're Java based programs, okay, because they're enterprise level. Okay, so that's why you can focus on JavaScript, but it's not going to take you anywhere, because majority of the companies don't use JavaScript for web applications. Okay, trust me. People say that, oh yeah, JavaScript is easy. It's not easy. First of all, it's crap. And secondly, yeah, okay, it has a Node.js, so you can learn JavaScript and utilize JavaScript. So what's the point? People will sell it like, oh yeah, you can learn JavaScript and you can utilize JavaScript in backend, which is server side, and front end as like JavaScript. It doesn't make any sense. You're not gonna get into enterprise level because it doesn't serve. So do Python. So do anything like Ruby on Rails. People use it, but they are not, high level. Okay, very high tech. So you're gonna have to end up working with Java. So I ended up working with Java full stack. So I work as a Java full stack developer, and I enjoy it. And I work with Linux system as well, because everything's been deployed into Linux system. So why Office and why Windows and why Microsoft? Because SQL is a database server. Okay, so you need to learn SQL, which is structured query language. And when you do SQL, then you have to normalize the table. And I'm going to go into what normalizations is or whatever, depending on what it is. Microsoft doing is basically installing my Windows, so I'm just killing time. So I'm saying is that you need to have tables like one-to-one tables. So if you have a table which has a lot of redundancy, what we mean by redundancy is in every row is a large number of your name, first name, last name, whatever, and then phone number, let's say, or anything like that, and they are kind of redundant. So basically one data is repeating over and over in different rows, so you don't want that. So what we need to do is disintegration, basically disintegrate the whole tables into something like all tables are different. So you cannot have purchase data, for example sales and quantity and numbers, in the same table where you have the person's name and their address and so on. So you're gonna have to disintegrate to create all kind of different small little tables from this big table. Okay, so the big table is called fact table. Okay, installation finished. So I'm gonna finish with these SQL things, but this is what I need to do, and in order to do that, Power Query is really helpful. Okay, so that's why I'm doing this. So you're all set. Close this. Okay, so that's closed. So from here I'm gonna exit from here as well. So I'm gonna click exit, and now you see Office 2024 is installed into your system. So you can see Word, PowerPoint, Access. The one that I wanted is Excel. Is Excel in here as well? So we're gonna pin it all down right here into our. So I'm gonna start with pin to start. So Excel is here. I definitely want Word, pin to start. And we'll keep PowerPoint and Excel. I don't need that much. So from here, so what I'm gonna do is, let's say go to Excel, and then the first thing you're gonna notice is basically your Excel is up, but if you go into your account or go into here we go, accept the license agreement, accept it. I think it's gonna work just fine in here because we have the options in here. And no, sorry, in my case it's gonna be working just fine because I have this Office account, and it will, oh sorry, it's not actually, because you can see this all are de-highlighted. So in order to go do that, so what we need to do is we'll close that. Sorry, it's my fault actually. So go to Excel again. So from here go to account, and you see it says activation required. Go to account, it's a Microsoft Office LTSC Professional Plus 22. It's not activated because it's not activated. So if you go to new page and a blank workbook, for example, okay, it's not gonna allow you to choose anything. Click OK in here. It does allow you to do things in here, so this is kind of confusing. Okay, so I don't know why it's allowing you to do something actually here, but let's take a look again. So you go in here. Okay, so the bottom line is basically from here, if you do blank workbook right here, it does get activated. So I do not know why it shouldn't be activated, but nevertheless, if you go into Excel again, in your cases what's gonna happen is basically you go into account. This is activation required. This is the most important thing. You can utilize it by saying new. It's kind of gray area because these guys are making it really confusing. Microsoft is crap. Okay, so if you go into new, for example, if you click new button, it sees whole highlight things is activated for whatever reasons, because I'm a Red Hat, I'm Outlook open, etc., etc. But in your case, it's activation required. This is the most. So we're gonna activate it. Okay, this is gonna conclude the lecture because the lecture is getting really longer. How long this lecture is anyway? Let's take a look. You see this lecture is already 45 minutes and I'm kind of getting bored with it as well. So we need to activate the activation. So this is the whole purpose of the lecture, is basically activated. So how are we gonna do it? So if you go to new button here and press blank workbook, it is actually activated because you can go to data, you can see all this been kind of activated. So that's fine, but in our cases we need to actually make sure that it is activated. So we're gonna go to this PowerShell again as an administrator. Okay, so Windows PowerShell, right click it and then run as administrator, and we're gonna issue the same command that we issued before, and that was basically IRM command. Did you remember? So IRM, and then we're gonna go into our HTTPS, and that is basically colon, and then that was the activation get.activated./event, get.activated, okay, .win, and then pipe. Okay, that's a pipe sign. The vertical sign is pipe sign. IES is called pipe. Okay, so IRM HTTPS. So that invoke the activation process, and this time what we need to do is basically, so once you come this black screen, you're gonna come up with this thing in here. Okay, and now we're gonna choose number 2. Okay, so just press number 2, Office. Okay, number 2. Okay, and then install OHook Office activation, uninstall, download Office, get back. So in our case it's gonna be number 1. Okay, Office activation number 1. Press number 1, initializing is gonna be done, hopefully. Yeah, so initiating diagnostic test. Okay, so let's just do the initiating diagnostic test. Did you remember Homer, the Simpson guy? You know, he's drinking beer and sitting down and moving his revolving chair like that. So I'm doing that same thing. Yeah. You know, so you work from home, but you still need to be professional. But you don't have to be really professional like student talk like an English asshole. So it's all successful, as you can see in here. Office is permanently activated. Press any key to go back. Can you see that? It's green. It's Office is permanently activated. That's what I wanted to see. That's good news. So cheers to that. So we press enter and then we come out from here by press 0. So now we can exit from here, and then if we go to Excel again and then go into account, accept, and please go into account and then see product activated. So I hope it has been a long lecture. So you go to new and blank workbook, and then you don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, so everything's in Power Query is actually the data tools now. Okay, so you can get data and do things, and we can do all kind of stuff, and that's really cool. Office, Microsoft PowerPoint is really good. You know, this is something that I really give credit for Microsoft. Okay, it's really good now. It's not crap like granddad's office anymore. So it's really good. So I hope this lecture has shed some light how you actually work with Office. So we covered a lot of bases. So we started off with, I'm going to do a little bit summary here. So we started off with the differences between PowerShell and the Command Shell, and how we can actually access Linux servers from Windows PowerShell or Command Shell by using secret shell command from Unix back in 1950s. You know, it's still the best in the world. Okay, so and after that we looked into the peripheral of how we can actually get into Office deployment tool and Office deployment configuration tool, okay, or Office customization tool. These are Microsoft legit, you know, all legit. There's nothing illegal here, nothing bootlegging, nothing criminal activities, and how to actually issue certain customizations through, so that we can create the XML file. And we also did executions of the customization. The problems we had is basically doesn't actually show you the .exe or .xml format, so you gotta be careful about which file you're messing with. and then you need to put a directory where we create the directory and put these files into that directory, and then we transfer that file into C drive, and then we go to the C drive and issue a particular command that is setup.exe/configure, and then that configuration XML file that we have created and downloaded through Office Configuration Toolkit of Microsoft Office. And then once we done 70% of our job is done, we just then what we do is we issue a command to ensure that Office get installed. And you've seen the whole process of how Office get installed through invoking the process of issuing a very simple command, set up the /configure configuration system, all that same command that actually does that. And once that's done, then basically Office is installed but is not activated. Most of the lectures in YouTube is not going to cover that, so I covered it how to do it by going to the get activations key from the Microsoft Office deployment kit, and that's going to give you the options of number 1 or number 2. You choose number 2 and you are now you're activated. So in my cases everything is nicely done. We also seen in the first part of the lecture, sorry I forgot, the Windows 10 activation. So in my cases it's activated. Make sure that you have an Outlook account already open and you know how to activate Windows 10, which is free. Okay, having said all that, I'm gonna conclude this lecture now. Bye for all.